Welcome, everybody. Saturday night, July 6th. You're watching 208 Fantasy Football. We got some interesting stuff to talk about, gentlemen. Good to see you, but let's get this thing going right now. Justin Chance, how we doing?
Oh, good. Glad to be inside.
Spent all day outside with my daughter at the pool, so it was a good time.
It has been hot here in the 208 land. Chance has been on a tractor, Idaho style.
Yeah.
How was that today?
Oh, it's hot. It sucked. The last couple of days, I worked on the 4th of July because, we don't get that day off on the farm. But it's been good, busy. I got two new additions to the farm because I adopted some goats from Lineberry.
You still want them?
You gotta tie them up, man.
They're tied up. Don't worry about it.
They're tied up, baby.
That's funny. Justin, you were at the pool all day today, spending time with family.
Yeah, I like to throw my daughter in the pool and just see what happens. So that's what we do. That's what we do with our 3-year-old. And then my 15-month-old was just doing some floats. So
fun.
It was a good time. We're trying to get this baby out still. So
yeah, it will happen. I spent a little bit too much time in the sun. I'm a little bit red today.
You look red.
I'm like, man, I was out there, but I enjoyed every minute of it. So, well, let's jump in. There's not a lot here, but let's hit the news. Which is right
What's
here.
going on?
Not a whole lot of news out there. Chance, anything you saw on your
No, nothing really newsworthy. Buccaneers came out and said they wanted to use Chris Godwin more in the slot. So we'll see. I just don't know if Chris Godwin, he just doesn't rustle my jimmies for fantasy anymore. I don't think there's any way they could use him that I'm like, oh, Chris Godwin, there we go. The only other thing that was kind of big, and of course it's the Cowboys, was Dak Prescott was in a walking boot over the 4th of July. He said, I wear it when I go sailing because the ankle that I've had hurts. I don't know. Dealing with a very minor foot sprain, but major enough to wear a walking boot. So, I don't know. We'll see. Lineberry, did you watch the episode of Hard Knocks? What'd you think?
yeah, I did watch it. So Chance was talking to me about Hard Knocks the other day and like kind of enticed me. I was like, oh man, I gotta buy HBO Max because I'm a big Game of Thrones, like House of the Dragon guy too. So I was like, it's a 2-for-1, might as well get it. Yeah, so I watched it. There was just, I don't know, like I think like when you watch like the Hard Knocks or like any of the in-season stuff, like you just expect a lot of like very high level thinking when it comes to players. And like I just didn't get that from the Giants organization. Like I was talking to Chance when I was dropping off these goats, and I was like, it's so weird to me that they were just crapping on Saquon about he's 27, he's on an age cliff, and like we can wait and be patient for a running back. And they went out and signed Devin Singletary like the first day of free agency, and he's like the same age as Saquon. So it just didn't make a lot of sense to me. And they're like, we're gonna invest in the O-line. They didn't. They got another skill guy in Malik Neighbors, which I don't think was a bad draft pick, but just a lot of like contradictory points that they made, which kind of surprised me.
Yeah, I haven't had time to watch it yet, but I'm real excited to watch it only because one of my dynasty darlings, Tyrone Tracy, ended up on the Giants, and I just want to see what they have to say about him.
Yeah, I did read some of that. There was an article about that, how the Giants were, I guess, bad talking Barkley. I'm like, you guys never used him right to begin with, but whatever. We'll see what happens. Some other sad news. I just got to want to throw this out. Rookie Kyrie Jackson from the Vikings was killed early this morning in a car accident. So prayers out to his family and the Vikings. Wish them all the best, man. You hate to see that, such young talent, but now gone. always gone too early, which is sad. But again, prayers and our thoughts are with them. So, moving forward again, we're doing another breakdown. We're going to do a little NFC breakdown, just like we did with the AFC, and we're going right into my favorite division, which is the NFC North Breakdown. So lots and lots and lots to discuss here. This is my favorite division. Obviously, you guys know Bears are my favorite squad.
Two super fun teams, two super easy to hate teams.
Yes. Yeah. It's funny, when my Bears are not doing good, I have this hierarchy. I'm like, if the Bears aren't doing good, I'm rooting for the Lions. And then if the Lions aren't doing good, I'm kind of rooting for the Packers. And if the Packers aren't doing good, I'm rooting for the Vikings. I got this hierarchy in this deal here. So
I got the same thing for the AFC West. I don't hate the Chargers because they've never really beaten the Broncos that bad, So it's like hate the Chiefs, hate the Raiders. Yeah. The Broncos suck so recently.
Very different from both of you. Very different. I hate every single team in the NFC South. I want them all to lose all their games. I hate them all. Hate every single one of those teams.
That's funny.
That's fair.
So just a reminder, we'll break down. Hey, if you do like the channel, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, leave us a comment. We have lots of fun on this channel, just talking ball. We want you to win, and we want to win our leagues and brag against each other. So again, hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment, let us know what you think. But let's jump right into the NFC North and see what's going on. So Minnesota Vikings. Lionberry, tell us what you got for the Minnesota Vikings. What do you know about them?
So when I was doing my research with them, I was like, man, I think their offensive numbers are going to be skewed, but because Kirk Cousins tore his Achilles week 8, so basically half the season. So these were their offensive numbers with Josh Dobbs, Nick Mullins. I don't even know how else. They were just sending guys out there. So I'll get into my point based off of that. So they're 10th in total offense, 29th in rushing, 22nd in scoring offense. So Kevin O'Connell, he comes from Sean McVay. He's one of my favorite coaches. He just schemes up stuff so well for it's very, very quarterback-friendly offenses. He does do a lot of similar things as the Los Angeles Rams. Run-wise, he did spend 2 seasons with McVay. The insertion of J.J. McCarthy, if he gets a chance, will be interesting. We'll go into quarterbacks here in a minute. And I think it'll dictate a lot what this offense can do. But obviously, breaking in a new quarterback, either way, whether it's Sam Darnold or J.J. McCarthy, how will that impact the skill positions, their running backs, all that stuff? And then their offensive line-wise, it's not as bad as I thought. The whole NFC North, in my opinion, has very good O-lines. They're not in terrible spots like the AFC West, like we were talking about. They all have some pretty good offensive lines, so it'll be kind of with the Vikings have a very good left tackle, Christian Darrisaw, so it'll kind of be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah, I agree, Lionberry. I think this group is one of the best conferences for offensive line. But talking about Minnesota here, let's talk about J.J. McCarthy and Sam Darnold. And I'm going to ask each one of you, who do you believe the starting quarterback will be here? Obviously, you see the rankings for our ADP, and McCarthy seems to be, but could it be Sam Darnold? Chance, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I think I'm a Sam Darnold truther. As a Broncos fan, I would have been pumped if J.J. McCarthy had fallen to us. Early in the draft season, I was like, oh, yeah, J.J. McCarthy, he's a winner. And then the more I watched his stuff, the more I was like, I don't know if I want that risk. I just, again, happy with Bo Nix with the games he started. But I think on this team with the Vikings will be better with Sam Darnold than they would be with J.J. McCarthy. Maybe all season. But I don't know how you spend a pick that high and not start the guy unless you're the Falcons. So.
Fair enough. Justin, your thoughts?
Yeah, so I'm in agreement with Chance on this. Me and Matt talked a little bit about the draft when it came to J.J. McCarthy and Sam Darnold on this team. So what I think my prediction is going to be is Sam Darnold's going to start anywhere from 6 to 10 games for them. And they're going to go to the trade deadline. I believe the trade deadline gets pushed back a week later because of it's an election year. That's just something, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong if you guys heard something different. But so the trade deadline's a week later. So I think
hadn't heard that.
At least one quarterback will go down. And I think one of them will go for Sam Darnold. Kevin O'Connell is very good at scheming up quarterbacks, making them look very good. Like maybe the Saints come out and get him because Derek Carr is doing a crapper. Like maybe the Raiders come out and get him because they're doing a crapper. Like I think they're going to use Sam Darnold as that trade bait, and I think Sam Darnold can be good in this offense. Like again, the Jets, like I said, have ruined so many quarterbacks as long as I've been alive. So that's all I know is they ruined quarterbacks that are really good at, like the Chiefs with wide receivers. Chance could probably attest to that. But like, I think he's going to be pretty good in this offense. He has two really good wide receivers in Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. I think the run game will be pretty decent with their O-line as well.
Are either one of you taking McCarthy or Sam Darnold in your redraft?
I would take Sam Darnold late as like a flyer QB2. Like if I ended up drafting a quarterback high, like that has maybe some injury to him, like a Joe Burrow or a Richardson, right? Like one of those guys, if I were to draft them high, Sam Darnold, especially by the time our drafts roll around, we'll know who the starter is going to be. If they announce Sam Darnold as a starter, I will 100% pick him up in the last round as that QB2 because I agree. I think coming from the McVay, the Shanahan system, being in San Francisco, like I'm a Darnold truther. I think he's got it, and I think if he starts, I'd pick him late. And then that also plays into how I feel about their wide receivers. That would change how I feel about Jefferson too a little bit.
Justin, you?
No, I'm probably that these are two guys that I probably won't do anything with. I probably won't be trying to draft them, trying to look for them. That's just not one of my draft strategies. So.
No, I agree with you guys. Well, more Justin, I suppose. I'm not taking any one of these quarterbacks. This team to me has written all over potential. Darnold starts. Darnold has a couple of bad games. Fans start crowing. McCarthy gets put in. McCarthy has a couple of bad games. Darnold goes back in. Then the real wide receivers are frustrated. They're mad, and I just see it potentially snowballing. It has that potential for this group. Last year, I think, let me pull up the stat here. The Vikings were fourth in attempts with 631. I don't think we're going to come anywhere near that this next year. And if it is, I don't think it's going to be any one quarterback. So I don't know. I'm probably staying away from both of these guys. So moving on to running back, Aaron Jones and Ty Chandler. You see Ty Chandler, 20th position ranked, 82 ADP, and you get him in the 7th round. Chandler I threw in there just because Aaron Jones has had some injury problems, but he's 46th position ranked, ADP at 142 in the 12th round. Thoughts on Aaron Jones going over to the Vikings? Justin, we'll start with you.
So I've been pretty adamant he is a do not draft. Like I just don't see it working out. He signed a 1-year, $7 million contract, and it feels like Kevin O'Connell wants Ty Chandler to be something. Like he always gasses up Ty Chandler. I don't know. I don't see it, but like Aaron Jones is 29. They didn't give him a ton. Like I get the contract's fully guaranteed $7 million, but man, like it seems like he's beat up a lot. I just don't see it. I don't think he's going to be anything this year. I think he does fall off that cliff.
Chance?
Yeah, I have a different stance than that. Aaron Jones is a guy that if I were to go hero RB and I snag an RB in the first round, or maybe it falls me that I get a great wide receiver early and then I can get my hero RB in the second round. Aaron Jones is going in the 7th round. And last year, he missed 6 games with an injury, finished 37th in half PPR. But before that, in 22, 21, 20, and 2019, he never finished outside of the top 12. He was an RB1 every year, minus last year, in a row. And so if I were to end up with Aaron Jones in the 7th round as my RB2, and I have 2 stud wide receivers, a hero running back, and I get those onesies positions early, like I draft an early quarterback and an early tight end, I'm super happy taking that flyer on Aaron Jones because I think he's going to be a great check down running back for those quarterbacks, and they have a good O-line. Like I will take him as my RB2 and then also take some of those other late round flyers at running back if I just find myself picking up onesie positions early, right? In the 7th round to be my RB2 with I think he's got all the upside in the world. I like Ty Chandler as a handcuff. But I think Aaron Jones, I think he's still got it.
Yep, he is. He's 29. His birthday is December 2nd, so he'll be 29 through the whole season. He hasn't had any less than 133 carries in since 2018. He had 142 last year, but he did have 30 receptions, 43 targets. So it's not a bad take, the check down. Round 7 might be, it depends who's there, but round 7 might be a little bit rich for my blood with Aaron Jones. And I think we all agree Ty Chandler would be a good backup who can kind of come into his own. But yeah, interesting case for the Vikings.
To piggyback on Chance's point, like to kind of help this point out as well, is like know what your league is. So if it's full PPR, like Chance's point makes a ton of sense because he's like his rushing yards aren't going to be what you want him to be because he's rushed for 1,000 yards 3 times, but it's like 1,084, 1,104, like 1,112. Like those are his rushing yards. So, but his catches are huge. So no, like this is important. Like running back wise, like if it's half PPR or full PPR, like this guy catches the ball a ton. Like that's probably how he makes a lot of his fantasy points. That's probably why he was a top 12 back is because he catches the ball well.
Agreed. Moving on to the wide receivers, Jefferson, Addison, and Powell. Obviously, Jefferson, Addison have been the big ones. Powell's kind of the throw-in. He's not even in the ranked position at 130 at ADP of 315 and outside the 20th round, so I didn't even put that in there. Jefferson is your position, Justin Jefferson, your 4th ranked overall, 5th ADP in the 1st round, and then Addison is 42nd and 68 ADP, and you get him in the 6th round. After we talked about McCarthy and Donald, are either one of you taking Jefferson, Addison in their ADP or round?
Listen, I've been out on Justin Jefferson all year. I think one of the first pod I ever hopped on with you guys, I feel like that whole pod was me like poo-pooing on Justin Jefferson because I just don't think he's worth where he's at. And I'm glad to see it's finally reflecting. Like I think going into the season, it was like, oh, Justin Jefferson, wide receiver 1. And it's good to see, I'm glad to see him kind of falling back a little bit because there's going to be regression with Sam Darnold or JJ McCarthy. If it's JJ McCarthy, that regression is going to be wild. If I had him in Dynasty, I would sell Justin Jefferson in Dynasty right now because I think you're going to get a haul for him. And I think he's going to be great. But if I could take Justin Jefferson and turn him into Marvin Harrison Jr. plus, why would I not do that? Where I have a known commodity at quarterback or turn Justin Jefferson into Jamar Chase. Oh, I would do that in a dynasty league because I think he still holds value as the dude. In redraft, where he's going, just based on my draft strategies and what I think about him, I will have 0 shares of Justin Jefferson this year.
Justin?
That's tough, but like he's so good. Like in my mind, like skill wise, like he's up there. I think he's better like skill wise than CD and all that stuff. Like I tried to trade for Justin Jefferson this offseason because I thought his value was substantially down and people just didn't see it that way. So I wish people had a mindset like Chance where I can go after him in our dynasty league, but it just didn't work out. And I gave up a lot to try and get him, and they're just like, no. And I was like, all right, then I'm just not going to try to trade for him. But I'm going to talk more about Jordan Addison. So Jordan Addison's rookie year.
That's your guy.
Jordan Addison?
That's your guy.
I don't know about that one, but
young hot wide receivers, Justin's guys.
Jordan Addison. So he had 70 receptions on 108 targets, 911 yards. So his like yards per catch aren't great. Like usually you want to see like a 15 average per catch, but he had 10 touchdowns. Like that is ridiculous. That's a touchdown every 10 catches. Like that's just not gonna happen. Like that is a regress to the mean, just like Chance said with Justin Jefferson. So first of all, he's gonna regress to the mean just because that is such an anomaly in football where you have one touchdown per 10 receptions. That just doesn't happen. You can't consistently do it unless you're like Calvin Johnson or some or otherworldly talent, and he's the number 2 in this offense, as well as he's getting a new quarterback, and that new quarterback might be a rookie quarterback. So again, I'm not buying really anybody wide receiver wise in this offense. If Justin Jefferson were to slide down to the second round, which I do not think will happen just because on his name, it just won't happen, I would take him. But at 5 overall, I could probably name 7 or 8 guys that I'd rather take over Justin Jefferson this year.
That's fair. That's fair. So I think I want to talk a little bit of strategy just briefly here. So anytime you're drafting in the round 1 or 2, right, depending on where you sit, if you're early or second, or early or mid, late, first and second round, the idea of drafting is to draft guys that will at least meet or beat their ADP. And right, so if Justin Jefferson's going at number 5, I don't think he's going to beat that ADP. I just don't see it. So that's why I'm fading him, and I think we all agree on that. There's no way he beats the ADP or even meets the ADP in my opinion. So you're going to find other guys that in Addison, 6th round value, maybe he falls a little bit. Maybe there's potential there. Even if regression's a little bit, he gets a few more targets and maybe instead of 10 touchdowns, he has 7 or 6 or something like that. In the 7th round, maybe 6th round might be a little rich. It's okay. I think you'd be okay with him. But I'm steering clear of Justin Jefferson as well. Guy's got world of talent. Maybe Sam Darnold makes him something. I just don't see it this year for Jefferson. We can find value elsewhere. So good discussion around that. TJ Hawkinson, I know he's injured. We're expecting him not to even be playing in the first 5 weeks, so he'll probably be on the pup. Chance, Justin, are either one of you taking him as a flyer in the 13th round to maybe have him mid-season?
I think he is a tight end that was really productive, and I think for me, TJ Hawkinson falls in the Aaron Jones realm of like, by the time he gets back, if JJ McCarthy has taken over that team, that tight end, that relief valve that tight end position could be, I think could be really valuable. And in the 13th round, I can pick him up, and assuming he goes on the PUP list, I'm going to throw him right on my IR position and then go pick up somebody off of waivers right away, right? Like, he's going to be a free player for me until I figure out what he's going to be. If your league, and again, know your league, if you can throw your PUP players on your IR, TJ is a great candidate for that. One of the best candidates for your IR spot in redraft that I can think of, because what he could be at a onesie position is super valuable. I'm trying to trade for him in all my dynasty leagues too.
Agreed. And a quick note, Justin, before you go, he's only 27, so he still have some time left in his world. So Justin, are you gonna stash him potentially?
Probably not. I've been burned by this before, like whether I've chased suspension guys or injured guys, but man, he tore his ACL in December, got surgery in January. That's a quick turnaround to be ready to go with your ACL. And like Matt has said with ACL and knee stuff, like it's not just a physical aspect. Mentally, it is so hard to get over the plan. And like Hawkinson, like his breakout year was last year. Like he was going off. Like when he got traded from the Lions over to the Vikings, he's done really good. And to kind of build on Chance's point, like this team feels like such a dynasty team where it's like, man, I don't know if they're going to be that great offensively with a lot of guys, but if you can go out and get Justin Jefferson cheap, I think you go get him. If you go out and get TJ Hawkinson cheap, then go get him. If you're a rebuilding team at the dynasty where you can get rid of some older assets to get a Hawkinson or a Justin Jefferson, I would go do it.
I do have the Vikings finishing 4th in this division, but enough said about that because I agree. I think they're kind of in a rebuild. But all right, moving on. Let's talk about the Green Bay Packers. Justin, let us know. This is an interesting group, but go ahead.
Oh man, the Packers. I feel like the Falcons have played the Packers like so many times in the playoffs, and I hated Aaron Rodgers growing up because he just killed us. So they were 11th in total offense, 12th in passing, 15th in rushing, and then 12th in scoring offense. So very productive offense. Green Bay uses a variety of run schemes, including duo and play action passing. one thing that was the biggest thing that I saw scheme wise is they love to scheme up in the run game, at least their tight ends and fullbacks. Like they're just heavily involved in their biggest run plays. With their offensive line, they drafted Jordan Morgan out of Arizona, one of the tackles. I think 8 of them went in the first round. And I think he will play left tackle. Their depth chart doesn't list him at the starting left tackle. Again, like I was saying before we started this segment, like Green Bay has a very good offensive line. Rasheed Walker was a 7th round pick 3 years ago. He did all right. So it'll be kind of interesting to see what they do with Jordan Morgan. If they play him on the right, they play him on the left, they slide one of their tackles inside. But they are ranked 14th offensive line ranking going into this year.
Yeah, the Packers, I do have them picked either to win the division or to be second in the division. But let's talk about QBs right out of the gate. Jordan Love. This group last year really started to come through towards the end, made the playoffs, made a good run. Love looked really good without really Christian Watson, who we'll talk about in a little bit. But Justin, let me start with you on Love, who is ranked 8th at his position, current ADP is 61, which you can get him in the 6th round. Do you want a piece of him or not sure?
Woo. I like Jordan Love a lot. I haven't been Dynasty, and I just thought he was going to be a throwaway because I've been sitting on him for it feels like forever. Like, finally he popped where he just balled out. The 6th round is a little rich, but if you believe the hype, like Matt said, like, do you believe he could be quarterback 8 or above? That's a tall task. That's a tall ask for Jordan Love. Like, usually the quarterbacks you are bargain bin shopping where you're looking for guys with a lot of upside. I would take him around there if I feel comfortable about my rest of my team, just because I feel like this offense is going to be so good. Like Matt listed all these wide receivers, and like I feel like it's not even the tip of the iceberg when it comes to all their weapons. Like he's going to have full disposal to do whatever he wants. And like to watch him play in the playoffs and like the last couple of games, I was like, holy crap, Jordan Love's like dude. So I would take him at that spot.
Chance?
I would not take him at his spot. I think it's awesome. You love to see. I'm always torn for players that come out of like the Mountain West or who we had to watch play Boise State a lot. Part of me is like, boo, hiss. The other part of me is like, oh, nice. Like, group of 5 players doing really well. And it's cool to see Jordan Love really coming into his own. And I think the dude's a baller, man. He is ice in his veins. My only problem is he didn't have, at least in his first year, the rushing upside that I would look for or that I wanted, right? Like he had 50 rushing attempts for 247 yards. Not something that I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Now there's definitely potential there. I think he's built to be able to run a little bit more. And honestly, I don't know why. Jordan Love reminds me of Colin Kaepernick. Like that's just what he reminds me of. It's like I would love for him to go out there and run some more. But I'm not going to take him where he's at in the 6th round just because I think there's other quarterbacks that I'd rather have above him or with more upside that I could draft later.
Yeah, I agree. I'm probably going to hold off on Love. I'm with you, Linebacker. I've had Love for a long time, and I drafted him as my 2nd QB last year in redraft. And I was like, man, there was things that sometimes he underthrew the balls. Like, what? Like he was underthrown, and he didn't look really good early on. And then they kind of figured it out, right? And I don't know if it was all Love, but they started figuring some things out. And I think what you're seeing a little bit for his rank is really of what you saw at the end, right? Like, what have you done for me lately? And that's why he's a little inflated, in my opinion. I'm with Chance. I think I'd rather spend my quarterback on the 4th or 5th round and not even wait on Love. Like, give me Mahomes in the 4th or Hurts in the 4th over Love. And then I'll figure it out from there, and I don't have to wait 2 rounds. He's only 25 years old. He'll be 26 in November. They were, I think, mid in the pack as far as number of attempts last year. He did have
nice.
Yeah, so it wasn't like they threw a ton, but he had 32 TDs and 11 interceptions, so it was good. The sky's the limit for the kid. I hope he just balls out and proves me wrong, but I think I'm going to hold on him. But I do like him. Do love me some Love, so we'll see how it goes.
The dad jokes are strong with you today.
Yes, I know they're rough, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, in the RB world for the Green Bay Packers, a little change up with scenes where I saw Aaron Jones get scooped up by the Vikings the day after he was free agent. And they come in strong and go get Josh Jacobs. which is crazy. They still have A.J. Dillon on a very minimal contract, and Marshawn Lloyd they drafted as a rookie. The position rank for Jacobs is 12, and he's 54 overall. You can get him in the 5th round. A.J. Dillon is 74 in the position rank, 256, which is outside the 20th round. And Marshawn Lloyd is 44 over in the position rank, 141 in the ADP, and 12th in the round you can get him in. I am curious for you guys because there's a lot here that can go either way. And Justin's smiling. So I'm going to start with you, Justin. Where do you go here? What do you like? What do you dislike?
Oh man, this backfield's rough. Like it's so good. There's a lot of dudes. Like Emmanuel Wilson's not even on here. He's had a few big moments on here. But
Yes.
Josh Jacobs is so hard for me to like chart, to calculate, to have some sort of a decent opinion. He's only averaged over 4 yards of carry, so twice in his career. And it was the year he led the NFL where he had 340 carries for 1,600 yards and 12 touchdowns. And then last year it was 3.5. I just don't know which Josh Jacobs you're going to get. They handed him a fat stack. Like, they handed him a big contract, which scares me a little. He's 26. Man, I love Marshawn Lloyd, and I have loved him, like, for Dynasty. Like, I have him in our Dynasty with Chance, and I have him in our Dynasty with Matt. Like,
you don't have him in our Dynasty.
I thought I drafted him in that one.
You
Different
did
one.
not.
Sorry, different one. In Matt's, I got him in the 3rd round, and I don't know how I got him. But he catches the ball well. Like, I think he was super underrated in the whole draft process. Like, the running backs in this year's draft were just – it was so hard to know who was good, like whether it was Trey Benson or Brooks. And I felt like Marshawn Lloyd was that 3. But, man, Marshawn Lloyd just comes to such a good spot where he can almost take over that Aaron Jones role where he catches the ball really well in the backfield. And, like, how much does that bleed over into, okay, like, we're just going to leave him in because he's just given us so much that Josh Jacobs might not. I mean, Josh Jacobs had 54 targets last year, 37 receptions, but, man, last year was rough watching Josh Jacobs.
Chance?
Yeah, Josh Jacobs is the first running back for me that gets into the running back dead zone. I will draft, based on this, I will draft almost every running back above him because he's RB12.
Can you tell us who's there?
Yeah, I will. So right above him is Pacheco, Derrick Henry, ETN, Kyron Williams, A-Chain, and then Jacobs at 12. It goes Jacobs, Rachaad White, James Cook, Joe Mixon, Kenneth Walker. Like, from Josh Jacobs down, gross. It's all gross for the next 12 guys. There's only like 2 guys in that next 12 with Aaron Jones and Zamir White that I'm even remotely interested in. But I just, for me, he should have a good year. Josh Jacobs has great years and then bad years, and then great years and then bad years. Like, it should be a great year for him. But I just don't think that he fits this system. Like, I have a hard time, like, in a Raiders outfit where they're like, yeah, we got one dude to throw to and we're just going to pound the rock. Jordan Love loves to throw the ball, and I just don't see Josh Jacobs. I don't know. He seems like a weird fit. I love Marshawn Lloyd. A.J. Dillon is a joke. I hate not even.
Sheesh.
Just hard. Tough.
Because he got bigger quads than you. That's why.
Yeah. There's only one quad-father, and it's Saquon.
Starting backward, A.J. Dillon. I don't think any of these running backs get cut, to be honest, for the Packers, just because of injuries we've seen in the past, and all of them have a little bit of it. Marshawn Lloyd, maybe not so much, but sure, Josh Jacobs and Dillon. So I think they keep them all. A.J. Dillon, I did 0 shares. Gosh, we had high hopes for the guy. He never did anything. Marshawn Lloyd at his ADP, yeah, it could be the 12th round, and I'm like, maybe I need a running back. Maybe I have Jacobs. Okay. Maybe I pick him up for somebody who already has Josh Jacobs and I can use it for trade later. That's another strategy. I'm not a big fan of doing that, but I have done it in the past. Kid's got a ton of upside. Josh Jacobs, to me, it just all depends on your draft strategy. If you're going 0 RB, so let's say I go wide receiver, quarterback, and in the 5th round, I don't have anybody. Josh Jacobs could be one of those guys. He could be, because he's going to get a lot of carries. I tend to like Rachaad White a little bit and Zeus a little bit more than Jacobs. So again, they're a little bit further down. But if I've taken a running back in the first round because Bijan happens to fall to me in my area, I'm probably taking that, and I'm not going to take Jacobs in the 5th. I'm going to go a different direction. So I don't think he's horrible. I think it just depends on what you're trying to do. But I'm with you, Chance. I think he could have a big season if he stays healthy. We just don't know. I mean, it feels like just rolling the dice.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I do want to touch base on these wide receivers, and I've got 4 wide receivers up here because this is nuts. But you have Watson, Dobbs, Reed, and Wicks. Christian Watson is 44th ranked position, 70th overall, 6th round. Dobbs is 55th position rank, 106 an ADP, and you can get him in the 9th round. Reed, which I thought was interesting, was above Watson myself, but he's 34th ranked, 55th ADP, and you can get him in the 5th round. And Wicks is 58, 120, and you get him in the 10th round. I'm looking just at the draft rounds, and you can get a Packers wide receiver anywhere. I think the challenge is who's number 1. Chance, who do you like out of this group? Who are you fading, or you just kind of wait until they come to you?
I'm so excited for this.
So my favorite receiver of all these is Jaden Reed. I thought Jaden Reed was a stud at Michigan State. Loved watching him there. In Dynasty, when we drafted, I missed out on him by 1 pick, and I was so mad. He was one of my big targets in his rookie draft, and I missed out on him. I really like Jaden Reed. To me, he is wide receiver 1 for this team. If I had to rank them, I would go Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks, Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs. And I can tell that we were getting ready to do this and that Lineberry was starting to study this thing because I picked up Wicks off of waivers last year in Dynasty. I loved his tape. He went to Virginia Tech. He was a stud coming out, and I picked him up off of waivers. And as soon as Lineberry started doing research for this, I got trade offers. He's like, hey, let's talk about Wicks on your Dynasty team. So I know where Lineberry sits on this, and it's tough because I think that there's definitely so much potential for breakout wide receiver play, and they could very well be one of those teams that has 3 1,000-yard receivers. I would not be surprised if that happened on this team. But for me, Jaden Reed in the 5th. Absolutely. I would take him as my wide receiver 2 all day.
Justin, same question.
Yeah. Chance is right on this. When I started doing research and watch this stuff, I was like, man, Wicks is kind of good. But I do agree. I think Reed is their best receiver. The thing, not only I think he's the most explosive guy, he will get the most targets, but I think he will get the kick return job and the punt return job. He was a monster at Michigan State in both those roles. Very good at it. Watson, he just has flashes where it's are you going to be consistent or you're just going to keep teasing me? Kind of like Gabe Davis almost. He has a bunch of big plays and then just disappears or tears a hamstring or that whole report came out that he was heavier on 200% heavier than his right side than his left
leg
side.
was bigger than the other.
Yeah, and soft tissue injuries scare the crap out of me when it comes to any type of explosive wide receiver. Christian Watson is a height, weight, speed freak. That's what he is. Romeo Dobbs, I don't think does anything special. He's a very good wide receiver, but I feel like Wicks has the most upside, especially in round 10, where he could be the 2. I think it'd be very hard for him to jump Reed, just because I feel like Reed's role is established. Wicks is going to have to go out and perform really well to jump Watson and to jump Dobbs because he is a traditional X or Z wide receiver. Wicks is where Reed is more of your H where he can play the slot. But Reed was really, really good last year. And I think he will get those hidden points with the new return rules.
This wide receiver group is crazy young. All these guys are young. Watson's the oldest, Dobbs is then, and then kind of goes from there. I think Wicks is only 22 or something like that. So they all played last year. They all get another year, right? They got a year of experience. They're moving. I still think Christian Watson, as of right now, is the 1. He's 6'4", 2-0, if he can get his hamstrings right. Although Reed's great. Wicks, I'm going to talk about Wicks a little bit, and Dobbs. I don't know what to do with this group. At their ADPs, it's fine if you want to take any of them in their current spot. I don't. There's nothing. I'm like, no, it's okay. I just be prepared that I think 1 week it'll be Watson, 1 week it'll be Reed, 1 week it might be Dobbs. I just be mindful of that. My Now, my favorite player is Wicks.
Yeah.
If that guy didn't fumble 3 times, I think he would have got more touches last year. But it was his first year, so give him a chance. But I think Wicks is going to get more touches. But this wide receiver crew, for what they are, watch out. It rivals a lot of wide receiver groups as a whole, right? Not individual ones, but as a whole. They're tough. They're tough, and they showed that to us in going to the playoffs. They just found ways.
Man,
so it was just crazy.
Quit hyping Wicks up. You're making me regret my trade with Lineberry.
Woo! Let's go.
I watched film on him. I'm like, wow. But he had fumbling issues last year. That's why. So he has things to work on. He's not there yet, but we'll see. So
and I get it. I feel bad trading him away, but Lineberry's like the Chiefs. He can't draft a good wide receiver in Dynasty. He has to trade for them. But
I just think he might not do anything, but he has potential, right? So if you got something good for Wicks, there's nothing wrong with that. And now he's one taking the gamble on Wicks. So
in the 10th round, like taking Wicks, man, that's such an easy pick, though. Such an easy pick.
For sure. And I think
Matt, real quick before we go, so it was Wicks for Charbonnet, Zach Charbonnet. That was our trade. So it was pretty
fair.
We're trading not ones. No,
for sure. I do want to just kind of peek here at 120 because I think so would you rather have Wicks or Jahan Dotson?
Wicks.
Yeah, and I think they're both close. But I would probably lean Dotson over Wicks just because I think he might get a little more. Their wide receiver group's not as go, but again, they're 10 picks apart. So I do want to talk about the tight ends, just kind of carrying on moving forward because we have Musgrave, who is position rank 17, ADP 151. You get him in the 13th round, and that's partly due because of the injury to I just lost his name. Sorry,
Tucker Kraft.
Yeah, Kraft. So who could come back later. But are you guys, either one of you, interested in the tight ends from Green Bay?
In Dynasty, like Luke Musgraves was my favorite tight end prospect 2 years ago. Like height, weight, speed guy out of Oregon State. Like freak, 6'6", 253. Like ran a pretty good 40. Like again, like it just feels like there's too many guys in this offense for him to. It feels like he's gonna be forgotten, which sucks because I think he can be really good. Again, like Matt said, like a ton of young guys. So both their tight ends, Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgraves, are both going in their second year. So again, like it'll be interesting to see who carves out that niche of who is Jordan Love's guy. Is it Wicks? Is it Reed? Is it Musgrave? Is it Watson? Like somebody's got it. Like they got to start taking Jordan Love out to dinner to get some targets. Like they're just gonna be so many. Like so many guys are good on this offense where it's like are they?
A lot of mouths. A lot of mouths to feed.
It's tough.
Yeah. That does make it tough for fantasy, but it's kind of nice if you have the love, right? It's like, for just playing quarterback stuff, you love the variety. So, all right, moving on. Let's go to the Detroit Lions.
Oh, heck.
Wow, this team seems to be loaded. But Justin, tell us what you got.
So I was reading this article about like the most talented teams under 25, and they listed the top 25 guys. The Lions had 5 of these guys on that list, which is freaking nuts. Like their team is so good, and like reading that, like doing their write-up was super funny. So they were third in total offense, second in passing offense, 5th in rushing offense, and 5th in scoring offense. So scheme-wise, like I'm not going to be vanilla about this. They can run any scheme they want up front because they have the best O-line in football. They have 5 dogs up front. They have the best right tackle in football in Penei Sewell. He was the guy that the Bengals were debating, where like that meme of Jamar Chase and Penei Sewell, like, do we protect Joe Burrow or do we give him a target? Like Penei Sewell he is so good. Like he is the man on the line, like so crazy. Again, they can run any offensive concept that they want to run. They make Jared Goff look very, very good. And like from their total offenses, passing offense, rushing offense, they were top 5 in every single one. Like that is really hard to do. I think only the Dolphins and them did it. So they're just, I can't say enough compliments about their O-line. Like I can't wait to see Jahmyr Gibbs again this year to play behind this offensive line. It's going to be super fun. So
Yeah, the Lions, they obviously, you guys know this, made the playoffs, made it to the NFC Championship game, just fell short there. Um, Goff is their quarterback. He's position ranked 12 overall or 12th, 94 in his ADP. You'd get him in the eighth round. That's pretty consistent. Um, what's your thoughts on Goff? Is he somebody you're taking a chance? You like him in that eighth round?
I do, man. I like Goff just because he falls for me right in that realm of like I'm gonna spend, and this is like a draft strategy that I've always had. I'm gonna spend my first 6 or 7 draft round picks on skill players. I'm just gonna send it on skill players. I want the best skill players I can get, and I'm gonna let quarterback fall to me. Goff is like right at the top of that list of if he falls to me, I'm gonna get him because the point difference between what I think I'm gonna get from him and quarterback I'm gonna get 2 or 3 rounds before are really they're not gonna be a point difference that's gonna matter. Like it's marginal. It's a marginal point difference, especially with how much he throws the ball, his touchdowns. Like I love Jared Goff where he's at, and yeah, he's one of those guys. I'll take him. Let's see. What are some of the other quarterbacks in that range of where he's at?
Jordan Love's close to him for sure.
And they had similar stats.
Oh yeah, listen, right there, that's my sweet spot. Brock Purdy, Jared Tua Taylor. That's my jam for backs. I'll take that all day.
Justin?
So with Jared Goff, like I'll kind of go off what Chad said about Jordan Love. Like rushing upside isn't completely there. His touchdowns, he had 30 last year. His career high is 32. So you're probably expecting anywhere from 26 to 32 touchdowns a year. He's not going to give you a ton of rushing upside. I think, like Chad said, like that quarterback dead zone or whatever you want to call it. Like there's a lot of guys that I probably prefer to Jared Goff, but he is a very good value going that late. But I'd probably take a different guy like a Brock Purdy or Tua, something like that. So.
Yeah, I think Goff can beat his 12th position rank. I think he can beat that ADP as well in the 8th round. If not, he'll become very close to it. I don't think he really slips much in this offense. It's a high-powered offense. They were ranked number 8 last year in the passing attempts. You guys are both right. He doesn't run much, but he's got tons of weapons around him. If he falls to me, he might be my second quarterback. I don't know that I want to wait that long for a quarterback per se. I guess it kind of depends who gets sniped from me or not, but he is definitely in that realm. And maybe one league I have Goff, and another league I have somebody else. But I agree. I don't think you can go wrong with Goff here. It's been fun to watch him coming out of UCLA, and then with the Rams, and just kind of be suspect to what now he's doing with the Lions. It's been pretty neat. So he's done well. Kind of wow. The RBs in this group have been fascinating. Lots of discussion around Gibbs and Montgomery and who's vulturing, and are they vulturing? Are they not? Can they both be supported? Gibbs is our fourth in the position rank, 12th ADP. You get him end of first round. Sometimes he falls that early second round. And Montgomery is 18 in the position rank, 78th in the ADP, and you can pick him up in the 7th round. So just I'm going to ask you a question. Are both of these guys sustainable? I mean, last year they were kind of hurt and split a little bit. Or do you have to get them both, or who do you want to have, or what's your strategy with this group?
I mean, I think it's sustainable. Chance is butthurt because he traded me Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, I'm not butthurt.
So he's a little bad about it. I think like Jahmyr Gibbs, like this is so reminiscent of the Saints, like with Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara. I just think it's sustainable for at least 2 to 3 years. I think they had a plan when they got Gibbs. Like if you saw their draft reaction when they got Gibbs, I was like, why are they so excited? They drafted him so high. I was like so confused. But like Gibbs finished as the top 10 running back in PPR, and Dave Montgomery just had a ton of touchdowns. Like I think this is sustainable because of their offensive line, and like it should be their identity. Like they should be a run first team. Like Jahmyr Gibbs should get a ton of looks. Even playing that slot role that Kareem Raymond is playing right now, I think Jahmyr Gibbs will probably get just as many targets or maybe more as their third wide receiver, just because he's so good in that aspect that it'd be so fun to keep those guys both on the field at the same time. Like as a as a guy watching football or an OC at the high school level, like I'd want to keep those two guys on the field the whole time. Do I think you need to pair them together? Absolutely not. I think you could have one or the other. Like Jahmyr Gibbs is quite the investment in the first round, but like if you're at that 12 turn where you go Jahmyr Gibbs and get another running back right after, I don't hate that strategy because I think he's going to catch a ton of balls. And then David Montgomery is kind of in that Josh Jacobs role where he's getting drafted super late, where you're going hero RB or zero RB. I think he's a good fit because he's going to get work.
Chance, agree, disagree? Your thoughts?
Jahmyr Gibbs is awesome. He was awesome in Alabama. He's super fun to watch. To me, he falls in the draft bust category because he still splits that backfield. I just don't see him finishing at or above RB4. I just don't, because he's going to split touches with David Montgomery. Give me any of the other running backs at that spot who own their backfield before I start going to Gibbs. And that's where I'm at. I don't think you're going to go wrong picking him. But for me, I want guys, if I'm going to pick in the first or in the second, I want guys who own their backfield, not guys who split. I mean, David Montgomery had 1,100 yards, all-purpose yards last year, like still really relevant for this offense. And I think that Dan Campbell loves to play tough, loves to be physical, and David Montgomery to me is that guy. So, I think he's great. I think it's not going to be an issue if you draft him. But for me, I think he's a draft bust just because I don't, splitting those touches, I don't see a world where he finishes RB4 if David Montgomery is going to be in there on the goal line taking touches. That's where I'm at.
So, Chance, Gibbs or Barkley?
Barkley.
Okay, fair enough. I think draft position is important here. Let's say I'm 12th pick, I'm 100% taking Gibbs. If I'm like 8 or 9, I'm not taking Gibbs. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If I'm 8, or if I'm 12th, maybe I take somebody else 12 and I get him at 13. It's all relative.
Yeah.
I like Gibbs a lot. I agree with Justin. I think they're 100% sustainable because they're different. My initial thoughts last year with Gibbs was inside the 20s, right between the 20s, and Montgomery was going to be 20 to goal line. I really thought that was going to happen last year. It kind of did in a little bit. I think they were just trying to ease Gibbs into the role, and then Montgomery got hurt and he had to push a little bit, and then Gibbs was a little banged up, so it was a little bit here and there. But I like Gibbs a lot. I think he can finish 4th overall because of the receiving yards. The kid's just so explosive. I just had it pulled up here. He had 182 carries last year and 71 targets. I think that's just going to increase.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. You're right. It is crazy, but I think it's going to increase, and I do like him. Montgomery is going to be that stable back that you'd get in the 7th round, and he'll get his touches too. But I think they're going to feed Gibbs more this year and keep it balanced. But we'll see.
Hey, so just question for both of you, and I just because I want to know where you're at, because I know where I'm at. This Gibbs or Derrick Henry?
Gibbs because of the passing upside in PPR.
Yeah. So one thing that I saw, like I was just going through rankings of finishes last year, like across the board, Jahmyr Gibbs, standard, half PPR was a top 10 deck across the board. Only in standard league was Dave Montgomery a top 10 deck. So again, know the league that you play in, but like Jahmyr Gibbs only had 40 less carries than David Montgomery. And like Matt was saying, like it feels like they eased him in. Like don't give him the full yet. Don't give him the full little bit. They finally did, and he popped off. So.
Chance, you bring up an interesting point with Henry. I mean, we've just always known him as the ground and pound guy, right? It'll be interesting to see if they use him in the passing game. I just don't know. From what I see right now, I like Gibbs a little bit better than Henry. Now, I can get Henry maybe in the 4th round. But what if I go Gibbs, wide receiver, and get Henry in the 4th? Snap. Okay, I'm good with that too.
That's not bad.
So, moving on, wide receivers, the Sun God, St. Brown, and then you have Jamo Williams and Raymond. I'm going to start with Raymond, who's 92nd in position rank 222, and you get him in the 9th round. JMO is 48 and 82 ADP in 7th round. And then St. Brown is 5, position rank 6th in ADP, and you obviously have him in the 1st round. Again, this offense is potent, but Chance, do you like these wide receivers? You good with St. Brown and Williams? So tell me your thoughts.
I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think he's such a dog, and it's such a bummer for me. And this is the nice thing about playing in multiple leagues. Typically, I am a hero RB guy. Like, I'm going to draft my running backs early, 1st, 2nd round running backs, get them out of the way, which is such a bummer because there are some 1st round wide receivers, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I would love for them to fall to me. I would love to have Amon-Ra St. Brown on most of my teams. He just doesn't fall into my draft strategy. I'm gonna have to make an exception in one league. Maybe if Lineberry and I do our coaches league again, I'll
do a listener league again.
Listener league, something. We'll switch it up. But I love St. Brown. Jameson Williams, I just have to see it to believe it with him. Like, there are other wide receivers in that area that I would rather take. He's 48. Let's see who's going around. Jameson Williams right now?
In that 7th round.
Yeah. Portland Sutton, Coleman, Jameson Williams, Brian Thomas Jr., Jacoby Myers, Curtis Samuel, Tyler Lockett. Like, there are 3 or 4 of those guys that, to me, I would rather take them knowing what they are or for their upside over Jameson Williams. But I love his speed. I love if he's on, what he can bring to that offense. But I'll probably have fewer shares of him.
Fair enough. Just real quick, Keon Coleman or JMO?
Curtis Samuel. That's my answer.
Okay, fair enough. Okay,
they're in the same draft. They're in the same draft area, and I'm a Curtis Samuel believer. They're all in the same area.
Fair enough. Justin, your thoughts on this wide receiving core? What do you want to?
I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this. Like, Amon-Ra is my favorite wide receiver in the NFL. He is so fun to watch. Like, he's like Shane said, like, he just plays the game the right way. Like, there's not much I can say. Like, he is awesome to watch. I don't think he's going to get 10 touchdowns again this year. I think that was a little bit of an outlier. But man, like, he's fun to watch. And me and Matt's Dynasty League, I have him, Jamar Chase, and CeeDee Lamb. So it's just a fun wide receiver group to watch.
What?
So, yeah. So
I don't know how he got this.
That's I drafted Amon-Ra super late in redraft. I mean, in our initial draft. So I have loved him since USC. With that USC group, like, for everybody that forgot, they had Drake London, Michael Pittman, and Amon-Ra in that receiver group, which is crazy in a college team. So.
Did you have Addison too? Wasn't Addison on that team?
No, because Addison transferred from Pittsburgh. Remember?
Oh, that's right.
So this wide receiver group don't care about Raymond, but let me start with Williams. I'm kind of with Chancellor that I need to see it, believe it, but there are reports like he's very super focused and the kid stops and goes on a dime when he was there. So we'll see. We've talked about him before, and I still feel that way. I think in the 7th round, maybe. It just kind of depends on how you feel. St. Brown's interesting to me because I do love that kid. He's so awesome. I think it depends on your format. If it is a 2 wide receiver format, I'd probably not pick St. Brown. I'd probably go with, Bijan or something like that if he's there. But if I'm in a 3 receiver format, I'm absolutely taking St. Brown in that spot. So it just makes a lot of sense to me to get a stud wide receiver like that. But finally, I do want to talk about Laporta because I think this is interesting, especially in where his ADP is. But he's 2nd in position rank. The dude just balled out last year. His ADP is 37th, which means you can get him in the 4th round. Just, I'm going to start with your thoughts on Laporta.
So tight ends
next year.
So tight ends, again, like we have said, like there's just so many good ones. Like I do believe Sam Laporta is really good. It was super weird that he had that good of a year. Like I was just astonished that he was the tight end 1 last year on 120 targets, 900 yards basically, that's kind of rich for me on tight end where I can go back and I get Kincaid, who I'm super high on. I really do believe he is the tight end 1. And Sam Laporta replicating that 10 touchdowns, I think, is hard. But Matt said, like, he's young, he's 23. How much is he gonna grow? Like, I probably won't have any shares of Laporta just because I think there's a lot of good tight ends that will match his production.
Chance.
Yeah, Sam Laporta is definitely a dude that I don't target a lot in my onesie positions early, but Sam Laporta is a guy that I would change that opinion on. If he were to fall to the right spot in the fourth, I'd scoop him up. I think he's fun to watch. I agree that the touchdowns probably won't be the same, but again, he's a high value target on a potent offense for tight end. What else can you ask for?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. So these, if I'm not mistaken, just a second here. Okay. So last year you had Gibbs with 10 touchdowns, St. Brown with 10 touchdowns, and Laporta with 10 touchdowns, which is insanely crazy, right? Just begin with that offense was just so potent. Laporta's targets were around 120 last year, and I'm kind of breaking it down to the targets is kind of where I want to go with this. I don't know that he'll have 10 touchdowns again, but he is going in the fourth round, 37th overall, and I think he's sitting around, I'll tell you just a second here, somebody like, I think like Terry McLaurin, who's going a little bit later than him, had 130-something targets. So, right, so I'm like, okay, so who do I want, right? Do I want that many targets with the tight end? I know he's going to probably rival Kelsey again. McBride could also, gosh dang it, you just said his name, Justin.
Kincaid.
Yeah, Kincaid might be up there. Could they get that? I just don't know. I guess it's gut feel in that fourth round. Is he there? Do I want him, or can I wait to get McBride and Kincaid? I think I probably wait, but gosh, the kid was a stud last year, and 10 touchdowns as a tight end. He killed it. So I'm not going to fault anybody who wants to take him in that fourth round. By all means, I just might be able to squeeze out a different value depending on who's left. I just need to see who's left at that fourth round. So, moving on. Detroit's going to be it. I do have, like I said, them probably winning the division this year. We're going to go. I saved the best for last, you guys, because it's my Chicago Bears, and the Bears are tough. I mean, they spent a bunch of money and they went out and got people, tried to redo their offensive line. They went out and got Swift, but I'm going to let Justin kind of fill you in here of what kind of happened this offseason and what your thoughts are.
All right, so they were 20th in total offense, 27th in passing, 2nd in rushing, 18th in scoring. So Waldron comes over from Seattle. So his offensive rankings, he has some good stuff, but I want to go into a little bit of the concerning stuff. So one thing that was concerning is Waldron used 13 personnel, which is one running back, 3 tight ends, the second most. I don't know why he did that on Seattle. And they had some of the worst third down percentages as well, which is concerning because that means they're getting off the field, not as many opportunities. It's a little concerning. I think they hired Waldron a little bit because he did rejuvenate Geno Smith's career, where he had a really high completion percentage at almost 70%, ranked 4th in touchdowns, 5th in passer rating, like a very productive Geno Smith, where Geno Smith felt like kind of like a journeyman with the Jets a little bit, and he kind of balled out. And then that is the biggest thing that is concerning to me, that he used that personnel so much, where the Bears have all this offensive talent now and they struggled on third down, which is, it feels like kind of a scheme situation where they might not get as many situations to go score the ball.
Yeah. So let's start off with quarterback. So Williams, they go out and they could have done all kinds of stuff. They trade Fields, which, last year I was very high on Fields. I think he could have done a lot of stuff, but I'm not so sure. They go and get Caleb Williams number 1 overall. I think they could have traded a bunch of stuff, but here nor there. I digress. Williams is this guy. Your guys' thoughts on Williams? Chance, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I think Williams is. I really hope he's good. That's about as much as I can say about Caleb Williams. He looked really good in college a couple years ago. Last year, I think he was just trying to play too much hero ball, and I wonder how much of that comes over to his NFL career where he's like, hey, I'm the number one draft pick. I have all of these wild comps, and I'm on a team that wants me to go ball out. I wonder how much of that's going to carry over. I will probably have very little Caleb Williams on my team just because I'm not a huge drafter of rookie quarterbacks in redraft. I will take guys I know, but also he could be a guy that could be a great pickup off of waivers. But yeah, as not a Bears fan, I kind of hope he busts.
Justin?
So the big, like Chad said, like I don't draft rookie quarterbacks. It's just not what I do. But if there is any offense that like is put a rookie quarterback in a position to be successful, it's this one. There are so many good guys around him. So if he's not good, they're gonna know fast. So I think that's the one biggest upside is like he has a lot of options to throw to. Their O-line is average to decent. They didn't do a ton of crazy stuff to improve it. They're counting on their young guys. Darnell Wright was a really good draft pick last year. Played right tackle. He started to improve late in the year. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how that goes. But I think he'll have a good year, but I just don't bet on rookie quarterbacks in redraft.
Yeah, I'm a little bit sorry, a little bit of technical difficulties here. I'm working through it. I do think it's quite interesting. There we go. I do think it's with Caleb, right? That USC team was absolutely horrible last year. So a lot of it was put on his plate. I try to listen to a lot of the quarterbacks talk about it. They do say he's like one of the most gifted quarterbacks coming out. So we'll see there were times he had to play some hero ball, and I think he was just trying to win. He gets made fun of because he paints his fingernails. He gets made fun of because he went and cried at his mom type thing. They had a horrible team. He got made fun of because he wanted shares of the Bears. And I mean, it's just all these things over and over and over. And I think there's some red flags about the prima donna stuff. And you kind of worry about it. But I hope he'll kind of listen to some of the veterans, like a DJ Moore, like a Keenan Allen, and say, hey, look, you just got a grand guy. He's made some decent throws that I've seen, but he's still a rookie. I don't know if there's any quarterbacks that I don't know, I shouldn't say that, but that are like, yep, they're going to kill it. I think they all have potential, I guess is what I'm saying they could. With Caleb, to me, 17th ranked overall, I didn't say this early, 108 ADP, get him in the 9th round. Okay, maybe he's a second guy, great. He's definitely got some weapons around him. If there's a team that put things around him, the Bears did it, right? They put gobs around him, bringing in Swift and Keenan Allen and stuff like that, and drafting a kid like Odunze. So I'm hopeful. Chance wants him to bust. No, I'm a Bears fan. I don't want him to bust, but I was really, really high on Fields. And I still don't think Fields is a bad quarterback. I think the Bears just didn't develop him well, right? Just OC after OC. I'm worried about the OC currently because I listened to some of the wide receivers in Seattle last year, and they just kind of smiled and were like, good luck. So I'm nervous, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, my Bears. Swift they have Swift. Roshan Johnson was a rookie last year. Khalil Herbert, with a couple years ago, was one of the highest average per carries. So they have a good running back room. Swift 23 position ranked, 89 ADP. You can get him in the 8th round. Roshan is 60 ranked, 192 in 16th round. Herbert 58, 186 and 12th overall. I mean, this kind of goes in, and we're not sure what the Bears' offense is, but Chance, what are your thoughts on? Are you interested at all in this running back group?
Well, so because this is your team, I want to ask you, which of those 3 running backs do you think is the most physically talented running back? Which is the best running back in your eyes of those 3? Ooh. Having watched the Bears and watched football.
So let me start with this. There was talks about cutting Herbert. I think they keep all 3 guys. I don't think they cut anything. Swift is probably the most talented, right? But he's I don't know. He didn't do like for the Eagles last year. He had some big games, and then he just kind of fizzled, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not sure yet, but I think Swift is going to be between the 20s, and Roshan will be 20s in. That's my take. And then Herbert's kind of the odd man out and will fill in some spots there if there's injuries. But I like Herbert too. So they would have, if they would have liked their running back core, they wouldn't have went out and got Swift. But I think they're like, you know what? Let's get him. He's good. A little bit of veteran in him, and let's see what he can do. But I don't know that I like any of these running backs. I'll start with that on this offense because I just don't know. If they fall, maybe Roshan Johnson just because he's a rookie and he showed some flashes. But I don't think I want any part of Swift or Herbert. In all fairness, really, probably as a Bears fan, I don't know if I want any of these running backs.
Yeah, last year Swift, I passed on him in drafts, and then remember one of those first games he just blew up. Man, he looked so good, and you're like, oh my gosh, this guy's a stud. And then the Eagles collapsed like crazy, and he fell off. And I think it's so funny because to me, Swift is DJ Moore in the running back position. Like, you're going to get boom games or you're going to get nothing at all. And like DJ Moore had a decent end of season finish, but I feel like we went over this a couple podcasts ago, not to jump to wide receivers, but he had some really big games, and a 45-point game does a lot for your season finish with a lot of real dud games in there. DeAndre Swift feels the same to me, and I thought Khalil Herbert was a good running back. I hope he gets traded somewhere. Like, I hope he goes somewhere and can be on another team. But I would agree. I'm out on this backfield really from top to bottom.
Justin?
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys here. Like, Swift, like, if he wasn't anything in Philly, who I think we can all agree has a substantially better O-line, to talk about O-line, than the Bears. Like, was Jalen Hurts taking stuff from him? I don't think so. But I was a big Roshan Johnson fan coming out. I thought he was a really good back. I don't feel like he got an honest tryout. I would love to see him get a chance. I don't think Roshan or Herbert will get a chance because they gave Swift $25 million.
Sheesh.
You just don't see running backs get that much money. Like, they signed him for a reason. So, like, I don't know. It's tough to cut that after 1 year or to get off that. But I think Swift's going to get a lot in the 8th round. Like, again, we have hammered down the 0 RB approach. Like, there's just a ton of them there. So it's kind of pick your poison of who you think's going to be there. I don't think Swift is a guy. I just don't. Like, he was really talented at Georgia. Like Chance said, he had his flashes with Detroit. He had his flashes with the Eagles. I just don't think he's a good NFL running back. I hope they give Roshan a chance.
I kind of have a feeling.
Go ahead. You were talking about that ADP stuff. I just had a question when you're done, Matt.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, this is real quick. I kind of have a feeling that Roshan leads in carries, but Swift leads in touches.
Okay, nice.
Right? So that kind of takes on it. We'll see.
Fair.
So just talking about that running back dead zone. So DeAndre Swift in the same area as DeAndre Swift, you have Aaron Jones, Najee Harris, David Montgomery, James Conner. Like, are you taking DeAndre Swift over any of those guys? Aaron Jones, Najee, David Montgomery, James Conner, Zamir White is right there too.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I take all those guys over DeAndre Swift.
Yep.
All I can hope is later that Swift falls out of the 8th round. Because I think 89 is close to putting you in the 9th round. So, right. So if he falls in the 9th or 10th, I'm like, right. And some other guys are gone, maybe. So,
yeah.
Let's move over to the wide receivers. DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and Odunze. This is arguably one of the best wide receiver groups in the NFL. DJ Moore is ranked 22, Keenan Allen is 33, and Odunze is 41. DJ Moore is ADP is 29, Keenan Allen's is 52, and Odunze is 62. And you can get these guys in the 3rd, 5th, and 6th round. So very interesting that it's almost linear there. We've seen that with a couple other teams, but I think this is a high passing team. I think they're going to just let Caleb Williams throw the ball. But do you guys want any of these wide receivers in redraft this year? Chance, I'll start with you.
Yeah, the only guy of these three, well, if I had to rank them on who I would draft more likely, I think for me, Keenan Allen is number one.
Wow.
I think Keenan Allen is gonna be that possession receiver that he could easily be Caleb Williams' best friend. Keenan Allen has consistently been a fantasy stud. He knows how to get open. He's a great route runner. I just think he's gonna be that safety valve more than anyone else on this roster for Caleb Williams. He knows how to get in the right spot. I think the fact that Rome Odunze was drafted with Caleb, like they showed up to the draft together, like that whole rookie wide receiver, rookie quarterback move, it always bears some fruit. I just don't know if it's going to bear enough fruit, but that's my ranking. Allen, Odunze, DJ Moore, who's the highest ranked for me, is one that is the bottom for me just based on his ADP. Like I said, he was so boom bust last year.
He was.
Justin?
Yeah, I mean, Chance said all the points. Like, I've been a DJ Moore fan. Like, he's just really good. Like, I think he's just a really good wide receiver in general. But like Chance said, he had 5 games over 100 yards out of 17. It's not great. But like all his other stuff is like 50, 60 yards. Like, it's not great. How much? And like the biggest thing about this offense, like they're all resetting. So all these receivers are resetting with the quarterback. So there's no rapport unless Rome Odunze has some rapport with Caleb Williams, just because they're both rookies coming in. Like Chance said again, Keenan Allen is the most guaranteed thing on this roster, receptions wise, target wise. They brought him in for a reason, whether that's 1 year to kind of teach Rome Odunze how to play that role or whatever it is. But I feel like Keenan Allen is the most concrete receiving option in this option. But like DJ Moore's ceiling is huge. If Caleb Williams and him can hit something, I think he could be a really good play. But in the third round, even the back end of the third round, that's pretty rich for me.
Yeah, DJ Moore going at 29. I think you can get Tank Dell and Zay Flowers 34, 35. Because I don't know who the number 1 receiver is going to be here, right? It's
Exactly.
very up in the air. So we'll see.
I'm glad, Lineberry, that you agreed with me. I thought that Keenan Allen take was a hot take. Glad to see I'm not alone, baby.
I get it.
Yeah. If you can get Keenan Allen the 5th, you just have to understand that he might get injured. You just don't know. And then who steps? Could Odunze step up? Who knows? This is going to be an interesting year for the Bears. Here's what I'm going to say with this, and I'm going to be very careful because I know there's Bear fans out there. I think there's a lot of potential for the Bears. I just don't know if this is a very good fantasy football year for the Bears. And if you want to stay away from them, let's see. I know sometimes what do they say? Scared money don't make money, right? So if there's some in there, you can, if you're like, yeah, I'm going to do it. But I'm a little bit off on my Bears this year, but I'm sure I'll have some shares somewhere in that world. So
They do feel very similar to the Vikings, like very similar.
Yes, they do.
Fantasy football-wise.
Cole Kmet is 15 position ranked, 143. I'm a big Cole Kmet fan. I just don't know what to do with. I don't know what to do with him yet. I'm probably not taking him either, but either one of you guys taking Cole Kmet in this offense this year.
I'm probably not taking him in redraft. He's my tight end 1 in Dynasty, so
That's fair.
Yeah. Ride or die, baby, ride or die. But he was productive last year. And like he would score you consistent points last year. But I just think that there's such a wealth at tight end above him with teams that have fewer mouths to feed and less questions. So that's why I would be off of Cole Kmet. Too many mouths and too many questions.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I agree. Caleb Williams did throw the ball a lot to the tight end, and Seattle didn't use their tight end at all last year. So what does that do to Cole Kmet, who they just added 2 really good wide receivers? I just don't think – I think his stock is going to get hurt really bad this year.
Yeah. I'd have a different feeling on the Bears if Cliff Kingsbury were there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would give me a different vibes, but anyway. That's the AFC North, everybody. That's our breakdown of who we think could do it, who she could go get, what's kind of going on right now. Man, there is a lot in the AFC. That's my favorite. Like it's mentioned earlier, that's my favorite conference. Man, any final words here before we kind of sign out? We've been going for an hour and 20 minutes, but Chance, I'm going to start with you.
I think that the length of our pod is a testament. I think you've got double the fantasy assets in the NFC North than you do in the AFC West that we did our last pod. Like, you have twice as many draftable fantasy relevant players in the NFC North, and it's going to be a fun division, man. There's going to be some fun teams to watch, and I hope you get some players. There will be a lot of players from this division on my fantasy teams.
I feel like out of this division could end up one of, I can't really say for the Lions, and maybe the Packers are kind of there, but it feels like the Vikings or the Bears have a chance to almost be like the Texans last year.
Yep.
It's possible.
Super
I'm not saying it is, but it's possible. And you're like, oh my gosh, they did way better than we thought. So it'll be interesting. Justin, any final thoughts from you?
Yeah, just to jump on Matt's point, like, I think the Vikings are going to surprise a lot of people. I think JJ McCarthy is going to be really good in that offense. Like, I think me and Matt talked about this. Like, whoever was going to go to that offense, whether it was Bo Nix or Michael Penix or JJ, I think they're just going to be really good right off the back. I believe wholeheartedly in Kevin O'Connell. I believe he's one of the best play callers in the NFL with Sean McVay, with Kyle Shanahan. Like, he's really good at this job. So.
Well, that's a wrap for us tonight, guys. Thanks for hanging with us. Hour 20 minutes in. We will be back next week with more content for you. Again, if you've enjoyed it, hit the like button, subscribe. Man, leave us a comment. We love to hear feedback. We've gotten some good stuff already. We got a good group of guys talking football. And at the end of the day, we just want you to win your fantasy leagues and own those bragging rights, because that is what it's all about. So until next time, everybody, we'll just, stay safe out there and stay out of the heat if you can. Have a good night, all.